The Institute for Energy Research, or IER, is someone you'll want to become familiar with, especially if you are into energy and into policy. Now, their website is instituteforenergyresearch.org, all one word, and IER is a nonprofit organization that conducts intensive research and analysis on the functions, in the operations, and the government regulation of global energy markets. And IER maintains that freely functioning energy markets provide the most efficient and effective solutions to today's global energy and environmental challenges. And as such, they're critical to the well-being of individuals and society. Amen to that, I say. For many years, there's been a political movement, and perhaps more of an ideological movement that's bordering on religion, centered in North America and Europe, that is seeking to halt oil and natural gas production in those regions. Keep it in the ground, ban fracking, code red, you know them all well by now. And proponents claim this effort is justified in the name of protecting the environment and saving the earth from climate change. But this political movement, it's done little to eliminate the need for those products in developed countries. Nearly every facet of modern developed economies requires petroleum products and natural gas to function and provide the comfortable lifestyles that citizens of developed countries have come to expect. Now, these resources, they're necessary for agriculture and heavy industry and transportation by all modes, whether it's road, rail, air, or ship, and a great number of the products that we take for granted. And they're ingrained in almost everything. Thus, efforts to reduce or eliminate oil and natural gas production in developed countries like the United States, it's going to simply shift production to other countries in order to meet ongoing global demand. The great irony is that this political movement, which purports to be about protecting the environment, it results in oil and natural gas production moving from countries with the highest environmental standards, like the United States, to countries with lower or even functionally zero environmental standards. And the contradictions of this approach, they're most apparent in the case of the United States, which of course is the largest producer of both oil and natural gas in the world. Reductions or limitations on domestic oil production here, they have to be made up elsewhere in the remaining major oil-producing countries, which have far lower environmental standards than the United States. And that, constant listeners, that is where the IER and its research captured in the report titled the Environmental Quality Index comes into play. You see, the IER sought to objectively quantify that environmental gap between how natural gas, let's say, is manufactured under U.S. standards versus other nation standards by creating an environmental quality score weighted by production for oil and natural gas production in countries around the world using the well-known Environmental Performance Index, or EPI, which was produced by none other than Yale University. So the higher the EPI score, the better, or the higher the environmental standards associated with the manufacturing of the oil or the natural gas. What did the results show when one tabulates the data? Well, the results show that purely as a matter of environmental protection, replacing American domestic production of oil or natural gas with foreign supplies would be an overwhelmingly negative trade-off for the planet, for Code Red, and for the environment. And there's 4 major points highlighted by the IER analysis. The first one, for the 20 largest oil-producing countries outside the United States, the average EPI environmental score weighted by liquids fuels production is 39. So outside the U.S., the top 20 scores an average of 39. And again, remember, higher is better. When compared to the United States EPI score, it's over 51. So that means the average barrel of non-American petroleum is produced in a country with an environmental score that is over 23% lower than that of the United States. Here's the second conclusion or takeaway. For the 20 largest non-American natural gas producers, so now we're shifting to natural gas, the average EPI environmental score, weighted by production again, is just under 39, 38.6. Compare that to over 51 of the EPI score for America, which means the average unit of natural gas, if produced in a country not the United States, has an environmental score that is over 24% lower than that of the United States. And then number 3 conclusion, the U.S., which is again the world's largest producer of both oil and natural gas, is only outranked on environmental quality by 3 of the top 20 oil producers and 3 of the top natural gas producers. And none of those countries produce even 1/4 of the volumes of oil or natural gas coming from America. So indeed, all oil production from countries scoring higher on environmental quality amounts to only 36% of U.S. production, just over a third. And that from the natural gas producing countries, it's only a third of U.S. production. So the sheer size of America's domestic production of oil and natural gas, combined with its excellent environmental standards, it means that U.S. production disproportionately reduces the environmental harm of oil and natural gas production on a global scale. That's a huge conclusion and takeaway. And then fourth and last, the United States, when you look at its production of crude oil and natural gas, it's increased over the last 40 years, of course, while at the same time, pollution and emissions have steadily declined across those sources. So contrary to popular media characterizations, wealth created by energy development in free economies, it enhances environmental performance while making people's lives better. And nobody does it better and at larger scale than the US of A. Those are the data and them are the facts. Awesome.